Most of the world feels fast, loud, and restless, a place where time moves forward whether we are ready or not. Cities expand, skylines change, and yesterday disappears almost as quickly as it arrives, but scattered across the planet are places where time seems to have slowed, settled, and refused to leave. These are not museums or abandoned ruins. They are living places where streets are still walked, doors still open, and lights still turn on at night. When you step into them, the present feels distant. Tonight, we travel to parts of the world that feel frozen in another century, where history is woven into daily life. The deeper we go, the harder it becomes to tell if these places are preserving history, or if history refuses to let them go. High in the Spanish mountains sits Albarracín, a town of narrow stone streets and ancient walls that still encircle it. Here, crooked buildings and twisting alleys remain untouched by time. Modern life feels restrained, as if technology was asked to wait outside. Walking here is like slipping backward through time, leaving only stone, silence, and history. Off the coast of Italy lies Procida, an island where pastel-colored buildings rise tightly from the sea, and life unfolds at a pace dictated more by tradition than by clocks. Fishing boats return as they have for generations, conversations linger longer than necessary, and nothing feels rushed. The architecture here has not been polished into perfection, and the streets feel lived in rather than designed. Laundry hangs from balconies, paint fades naturally, and the island wears its age openly, without trying to disguise it. Procida feels like a place that chose continuity over change, a place where each generation simply stepped into the rhythm left behind by the last, and the result is an island that feels suspended, somewhere between memory and the present moment. In the heart of Morocco lies Fez, a city whose ancient Medina is one of the world's largest car-free urban areas. Its twisting alleys are lined with workshops, markets, and homes, much as they have been for centuries. Crafts are still practiced by hand, trades passed down through families, echoing through streets too narrow for cars. Fez feels uninterrupted, its heart rooted in another century. In southern France, Rocamadour clings to a sheer limestone cliff, its buildings stacked vertically as if gravity itself was negotiated rather than obeyed. Stone stairways connect levels of the village, and every structure feels anchored by necessity rather than design. The village has modern visitors, but its soul remains deeply medieval, shaped by pilgrimage, survival, and isolation. At night, when the crowds thin and lights soften, Rocamadour feels eerily untouched, as if the centuries never fully passed through it. Standing here, watching the village glow against the cliffside, it feels less like history was preserved, and more like time simply flowed around it, leaving this place intact and quietly observing. In Cuba, Havana stands as a city layered in color, decay, music, and memory. Colonial-era buildings line the streets, their facades worn but still standing, their balconies sagging under the weight of decades rather than collapse. Classic cars roll past architecture built for another age, and daily life unfolds against a backdrop that feels permanently anchored in the mid-20th century. Renovation happens slowly here, not out of neglect, but because the city has learned to exist as it is. Havana feels like a place where time slowed rather than stopped, where the present adapted to the past instead of replacing it, creating a city that feels perpetually caught between what was and what might have been. High in the Andes lies Ollantaytambo, a town where Incan stonework still forms the foundation of modern life. Streets follow ancient layouts, walls built centuries ago still support homes, and terraces climb the mountainsides as they have since before written history. Life here moves deliberately, shaped by geography and tradition rather than modern urgency. The stones beneath your feet feel intentional, placed with precision that has endured earthquakes, weather, and time itself. Ollantaytambo does not feel like a relic. It feels functional, alive, and quietly resistant to change, as if the past built something so complete that the future never needed to interfere. A city that refuses to be modernized. In Japan, the city of Kanazawa preserves a version of urban life that predates rapid modernization. Samurai districts, tea-house neighborhoods, and wooden structures remain carefully maintained, not recreated, but continuously inhabited. The city balances progress and preservation with remarkable restraint, allowing the past to remain visible rather than hidden beneath glass and steel. streets still follow old boundaries, and seasonal rhythms still shape daily routines. Kanazawa feels like a city that chose memory over speed, a place where history is allowed to breathe, quietly reminding visitors that progress does not always require erasure. A desert city that never adapted. In the Sahara, the ancient city of Ghadames was built to survive heat, isolation, and time itself. Covered walkways, thick walls, and interconnected homes formed a self-contained system designed centuries ago to protect life from the desert. Much of the city now stands empty, yet the architecture remains intact, resisting decay with stubborn dignity. Sunlight filters gently through openings above, illuminating spaces that feel more preserved than abandoned. Ghadames feels like a place that mastered survival but not transition, remaining anchored to a world that no longer exists, quietly holding on to a century that moved on without it. A town that never changed its role. In England lies Rye, a small town of cobbled streets, crooked houses, and medieval defenses that still define its shape. Once a vital port, the sea has since retreated, but the town never redefined itself. The streets remain narrow, the buildings lean with age, and the atmosphere feels preserved by circumstance rather than intention. Life continues, but slowly, gently, and without urgency. Rye feels like a place that never adjusted to the passage of time, because it never needed to, existing comfortably in the shadow of its own history. These places remind us that time moves differently across the world. Some places race forward, while others remain anchored, not out of failure, but out of continuity. They are living reminders that history can endure, and that some corners of the world quietly live in another century.